Hey, what is up, guys? Blunt Guts here. This is a Watch Over Realms video. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I really appreciate it. I am here to talk about Xaris today. He is somebody who I have actually had on Forerunner for like going on 2 months at this point. He was right before everything went to shit with the update, and Apple, blocked Moonton from deploying the update, and we just didn't get any content for like 2 months. He was the first of all of these heroes that was released on Forerunner. And so he's somebody that I've had in my account for quite some time. I haven't used him extensively, if I'm being honest with you, but there are some really cool things about his kit. He is a summoner, so he is going to fit in with that kind of like a Nora summoner meta, or meta is probably the wrong way to put it, but summoner group of heroes that the developers seem to be kind of putting out slowly over time. We've got Anora obviously in there. I think that Xaris does fit into that group. I think that there's another summoner that's coming out, I think, that I'm missing. Not who I'm thinking of, but they're slowly rolling out summoners, and I think that he is worth picking up, in my opinion. I'm just going to say that up front. He's a good hero. I don't know that he's worth getting multiple awakenings on. Like, I don't know that you need to go crazy pulling for him, but I am going to be hoping that I get at least one copy of him. There's some unique things about his kit, and I would say probably the most unique thing about his kit is his cost. Ironically, right? It's like the very basic thing, but he is a 12 cost mage. He is a burst damage specialist. He does a lot of damage when first deployed. The longer he's been deployed, the less damage he is going to do, though. So that is something to keep in mind. He may be somebody that you might pick up and then put back down in longer fights or something like that, if there is a need for that. Very, very cool. But this 12 cost thing is the biggest thing about him, because most mages are 19 cost or higher. Single target, AoE, doesn't matter. They are all very expensive. Some of them are even more than that, like Anora, 22 cost. So this is something that is very, very useful, because I can say from personal experience, somebody who has Micah is the only the only legit single target marksman, or regular single. I've got Cetrum too, but he's high cost as well. He's 20 cost. But most of the single target marksmen like Hex and Silas and Calypso and those guys are all 12 cost units, and they're great because you can bring them out early, or if you have to deploy a bunch of units in a stage, they're not so burdensome on cost that it makes it difficult to do it. So I think from a progression perspective, it's important to have these low-cost units, because otherwise you have to start working in with cost generators, or you have to figure out a unit that's going to be able to kind of cover multiple roles, or you're just it makes juggling things just much more challenging. So having somebody like this is just incredible. And I would say that as far as usage is concerned, his best spot is probably going to be AoE Arena. He can handle the first 3 waves of AoE Arena like that by himself. And I'm talking, I've tested him as high as 450k battle power, so it's not the top of, it's very, very solidly kind of overlord level teams as far as what you're going to be facing. So there's some that go up to 500, 550k, but that's really more at the upper end. But for just being competitive, he is a great initial deployment. 12 costs, you can deploy him almost immediately. He can take out that entire first wave, second wave, and third wave based on my experience, and probably even higher because mine is not built all that well. So let's get into his skills. Start off with the talent here. Summons 3 Souls of the Damned when first deployed. These are his summons. Souls of the Damned inherit 100% of the Master's attributes and assist the Master in attacking enemies in range. Each attack deals 80% AoE magic damage to up to 5 enemies. Souls of the Damned can exist for 30 seconds, but he's going to continue to be able to spawn them over time. So even though the initial ones will despawn, he's going to spawn other ones. When there are no Souls of the Damned on the field, again, those are the summons, restores 6 rage per second, so he's going to get a rage boost. That comes into his ultimate, which is where he's going to get some of those other summons. When there are Souls of the Damned on the field, the hero's basic attack will launch Coercion instead. And Coercion is, he attacks 1 Souls of the Damned every 4 seconds, increasing their damage by 40% for 5 seconds, yet reducing their existence time by 5 seconds. So he's going to cycle through these. I haven't tested it, but I'm assuming he's going to prioritize ones that don't already have the coercion buff on, right? So he's not going to just pummel them over and over. I have mixed feelings about this skill, right? Because all of his damage comes from his summons, and his basic attack, the thing that he's going to do over and over again, is going to reduce the time that they're on the field. Now, he's going to give them a 40% boost at the cost of about a sixth of their duration. So like that's a solid trade-off from a like relative to one another, I think. But you need to be able to continue cycling through these and generating more of them for that to be a worthwhile trade-off. Otherwise, you hit these dead spots where he doesn't have enough up, and then he's just not doing that much damage, which is why over time he does, one of the reasons anyway, why over time he does less damage the longer he has been deployed. So looking at Enslave here, 800 rage cost. In fact, I didn't talk about the skill ups here. So rage restore per second goes up to 10, actually, when you are fully skilling him up, and he is worth skilling up, in my opinion. He is good enough for that, especially since he kind of fits a niche that nobody does. So anyway, let's go on to the ultimate. Enslave, 800 base cost. It's going to go down to 600 when you do have him fully skilled up. 500 initial rage, so he's going to have that ultimate up like that. It's got a 2.2 second duration. He summons 4 Souls of the Damned and reduces the summon number by 1 with each ultimate cast. So again, this is the second reason why the longer he's been deployed, the less damage he is going to do, because by the time he casts his ultimate the 4th time, and it's a low rage cost ultimate, and he's got rage regen built into his kit, so he's going to cycle through that very quickly. All of a sudden, he's only going to be summoning 1 Soul of the Damned as opposed to the 4 that he summons initially. But especially that first one that he casts, he's summoning 3 immediately when he drops out. If you drop that an extra 4 on top of that as soon as he's out there, oh god, that damage! It just, that first ult cast is just very strong damage, very, very strong damage, and that is why he's great as an opener. He's an opener burst damage specialist, like I said before. Look, even says burst damage over here, so clearly Moonton knows what they're talking about. Next up, his first passive, Tormented Spirit. When summoned, Souls of the Damned enhance their next 2 attacks, each dealing 160% damage and inflicting slow. The slow is a 25% slow, so kind of the worst version of slow that there is out there, but it's a little CC. You like that. Initial damage again, kind of going with that burst damage, early starter damage. They enhance their next 2 attacks, dealing 160% damage, as opposed to what do they do? Typically, they do 80%, so it's double damage, basically, for their first 2 attacks. So, again, as soon as you cast the ultimate, you bring out several of these, hopefully. Now, if it's one of the first ultimates that you cast, 4 or 3 or something like that, they're going to be dealing a bunch of extra damage on the first 2 attacks, which is great. And then finally, I'm sorry, I'm like bouncing all over the place. I'm not really talking. You're going to get that up actually to 220% as you skill up, so that's even better. And then the number of enhanced attack +1, so it's going to go to 3, which basically gives this like a 50% boost as far as his impact is concerned, which is awesome, really cool. And then finally, Purgatory. After any Souls of the Damned disappear, the existence of the remaining Souls of the Damned will be extended by 1 second. If you skill that up fully, you're going to get an extra second on top of that, so it's going to be 2 seconds. So I'm not going to break down the math on all of this, but you're going to get extra duration, but you're also going to be taking it away too. So I don't know. It's kind of a wonky kit. You kind of got to play with him to really get a feel for how he works. But I can say that once I did start using him, I have felt like he's definitely worthwhile. He's just not somebody. He's quick damage. He's not long damage. That makes sense. Let's take a look at his awakenings. So A1. Summons 2 extra Souls of the Damned when first deployed. Again, if we're looking at him from a on-deployment burst damage specialist, then this is great because it gives him extra damage up front, especially when you consider the rage cost of his ultimate is real short, so you can do the 2 plus the 3 that he's going, that's 5, plus another 4 from the ultimate. All of a sudden, you're going to have 9 out at once, and that is just beautiful. So getting the A1 would be very nice. 300 attack on the A2. He does have... Let's just take a look real quick at his base stats here. Lower base attack than what most of the mages do. He's only at 4,050 base attack. Most of the legendary mages are closer to like 4,600, I think, base, if not higher, and then they get up to just under 5K when they are skilled up. Especially most of the ones that have come out more recently, like Alistair. Ingrid is like at 6,400. Praetus is at like 5K or something like that. So, yeah, it's not it's not great. That is a problem with him, I think. But I think that's kind of the trade-off they're making for the low cost, is that they're reducing some of his base stats, and that's how they're justifying it. But this extra 300 is going to be more impactful on him because of his already lower base attack than it would be on somebody that had higher base attack as well, because it's going to be giving him a more significant boost to his total relative to what his base attack is at a 0. A3. When there are no Souls of the Damned on the field, each time the hero restores rage, there is a 5% chance to instantly gain full rage. Cooldown is 30 seconds. Yeah, it's cool. Low rage cost, so you're not getting quite as much out of this as you might think. And then on top of that, again, the more times you cast the ultimate, the weaker it gets. So I don't love this. Obviously, it's better than not, right? You want to be able to cycle through this and summon more of these summons, but the fourth time you cast that ultimate, you're only getting one. So you have a 5% chance per time he restores rage to get a full rage bar and then summon one of them. So, you know, this would be great if he did more damage over time, not less, right? But it is what it is. Penetration is plus 8%. That is great. Again, you know, like I always say, love the penetration. Really is a helpful skill and helps you with more difficult encounters where the magic resist is going to be much higher. And then finally, at A5, increases the effect duration of coercion, which is awesome. On Souls of the Damned by 5 seconds. So all of a sudden, you're going to get 10 seconds of 40% increased damage, which is just beautiful. Especially, it makes that trade-off, losing that 5 seconds of total duration on the summon, even better. So, you know, all in all, a really good hero. I would say if you can get him to A1 or A2, that would be where I would stop, personally. I really just want one copy of him on my main account. He is very useful on the other one. The A3, like I was saying, I think is kind of underwhelming. The A5, I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but I'm not going to pull specifically for him, especially when we've got heroes like Beelzebub, like Twyla, like Numera is coming out, who's going to be very solid, I think, as well. I think there's just better options coming out as far as like what you want to commit your summons to. It really sucks because originally Beelzebub was supposed to be on the banner that's this weekend alongside Kagiri, which is a 2x, 15x. Now instead, because of the whole Apple snafu, we've got Xaris instead. And while I like Xaris, I don't think he's going to be widely used in a lot of cases. I do think if you're looking for help in AMR, I think on the platform stages in AMR, so that would be 20 and 22, he is pretty solid there as well, and he can certainly fit in with a bunch of the other heroes that you are going to want to use there that are both a lot of them are Curse Cult or Esotericists, so he can certainly fit in there as well. I do want to just show you how he functions in the first three rounds of AoE Arena. So I'm going to flip over there. We're going to close out the video doing that. Before we get there, I will just say, GVG-wise, I don't think this guy's going to be viable, unfortunately. He'll do great damage initially, but he's, for the same reasons we were talking about, 3-minute fight is going to be too long for him. And I think by the end, he is just not going to be doing as much as you would like him to do. Maybe I'll be wrong about that. I just don't think he brings enough to the table other than damage, and you know, it's I don't know. With that said, there are a lot of Curse Cult comps that I have seen recently that have been quite effective in the new map. We're probably only having that for another month, so you know, I don't know that you want to be making decisions based on the current map, but you know, he's a cool champion. Let's go take a look at Arena. I'm going to show you what you can do there. All right, guys, so I am on Forerunner now. I am taking a look at my Xaris. I do want to show the gear that he is in, so I'll just give you an idea of what I have going on with him. It is actually, you know, I was a little impressed with myself. This is like the best gear that I have on my Forerunner account, so it's good. It's not ridiculous, but it's good. He's got, what, about 2.5 times his base attack, so about 10,000, well, let's see. We can look at his actual attributes here. 16,342 attack. He does have a level 19 here Twilight on as well. That's the best I got. He's got 406 attack speed. He does have, obviously, 100 crit rate, just under 300% crit damage. Solid gear. Really solid gear, actually. And I'm kind of impressed with my account. Now, unfortunately, this is like far and away my best gear. I don't have another gear set that is like comparable to this. So this is like the best of the best, but I did want to try to give you as accurate of a picture as I could as to what he could do and come somewhat close to what I can do on global with my best gear. I will say that Infernal Roar does seem to be the best set on him as far as I have seen. Soulbound Arcana probably would come close as well, but you got to remember that unless you've got other units that are casting their ultimates around him initially, and since he may be your first deployment, you want to get your damage in early, right? And I don't think that the Soulbound Arcana bonus does actually extend to his summons. Kind of like Anora, if you did not know. Anora, Labor, her summon, does not get the bonus from the damage bonus from the Soulbound Arcana set. So Infernal Roar does carry over, though, and does increase Labor's damage. So it is far and away the best set for her. I believe the same dynamic exists with Xaris as well, but I can't say that 100% for certain because I haven't gone in and done like extensive tests on it. Maybe that is something that I come back and do over the weekend or something like that. Let me know in the comments if that is something that you guys would like to see. I'm putting out another video on Kagiri as well, and there's so much damage testing on him. I haven't seen a ton on Xaris, mainly I think because he's not going to be like a high throughput hero. He's not going to be like a really high damage per second hero. He's going to be a high initial burst hero, like I've said in this video many times already. But this is the gear that I'm going to be going in to arena with him, and I'm just going to do an arena test here on my defense. So you can see my defensive team right now is at about 450k. Solid, not crazy, but you're going to see teams that are at approximately this battle power throughout Platinum 3, throughout low to mid Overlord. I think once you start getting up into Overlord or Apex Overlord, you're probably going to start seeing things closer between like 480 and 550,000 battle power. So this is not quite as relevant for that, but I do believe that with better gear, I don't see any reason why he couldn't perform similarly there. So let's get in there. I'll show you what I'm talking about as far as what he can do. I'm just going to show you the first 3 sets of attacks here, the first 3 rounds. So you can see one thing, obviously, 12 cost unit means you can deploy him right away. And I'm not even going to cast the ultimate because he's going to get 3 of his summons immediately. They are going to be more than enough to take out this first wave here. And as you can see, it just went down real quick. In fact, I'm not even going to use the ultimate here either because I've still got the 3 summons up and they're still doing pretty solid damage. Now, they're not getting that initial bonus that they got before, but as you can see, at 450k, no problem with wave number 2. We're going to wait until we get wave number 3 coming out here, and we've only got 1 up now, so I'm going to use the ultimate. We're going to get another 4 of these summons to come out, and initially they're going to do extra damage as well. You can see he's just chewing through these basically as they are deployed. Now, he doesn't have an expanded range, so he can't hit the units that are all the way on the right, but as you can see, very comfortably takes out round 3. And at round 4 is when it falls apart, but you can also see I've got 24 costs right now. I could be bringing in other stuff as well. I don't think he can take down this wave without assistance. It looks like he cannot, but he's not too far off when you think about it. I mean, these 2 slip by, but the rest of them are relatively low on health, and I think I'll be able to get these last 4. So if you could deploy somebody else just to get those first 3, or those 3 stragglers, you could be able to get the last one. No. So there's 4 units to slip by on wave 4, but very, very effective, very consistent. Since I started using him in this way, every single time he can burn through the first 3 waves like nobody's business. And really, I think in a lot of ways, he kind of mirrors what Hatsit does to a certain degree. Now, Hatsit is a better hero. I'm not trying to say that Xaris is as good as Hatsit or anything like that. But what I am going to say is that, as far as like early arena, early deploys, kind of fills the same role in. Well, so there you have it, guys. So, I mean, really solid in Arena. Like I said, he can be used in the new Artifact Material Raid stages in stage 20 and 22. Either one of those he's going to be very good in. Really just a solid hero across the board. Now, for perspective, I did show you the gear, but I do want to just make it clear, this is a fully skilled up A0 Xaris Infernal Roar gear. Very solid, over 400 attack speed, almost 300% crit damage. He's got about 250%, 260% attack bonus on him. So really, really good gear. And you know, in Warlord and Infernal Roar. And like I said, he does have this Tear of Twilight on. But if that gives you an idea of what he can do, I mean, he's only going to get better with more Awakenings. I think, like I was saying earlier, you can get him to A1 or A2. I think that's really going to help you out in this role in particular. The other ones, not so much, I don't think. But, you know, good hero to have on your account, if for nothing else, because it's great to have a 12-cost mage. There are just not any other heroes that are like that. And you know, he's a summoner too, so you can add to the Anora kind of comp, that the summoner comp, that she does enhance his damage even further, because she does, where is it here? When on the battlefield, it increases the attack of labor by 15% and grants damage increase, so another 10% damage to all summons on the field as well. So definitely worth your summons, I think. If you're looking to pity manipulate, or for a reason to pity manipulate with Kagiri, I think Xaris is the one that you should be targeting. Of course, if you don't have Lucius, he's a great pickup as well. Razak, who cares? But, you know, with Awakenings, Razak can be decent. But, yeah. In case I'm just rambling at this point. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Please do like and subscribe if you did enjoy this content. I will catch you all next time.